Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never ashamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
A country is actually deporting illegal immigrants because they're criminals, prone to violence, and also a burden on the taxpayer economy in the country. And then what do they do in response? They go in the street to actually act like criminals, destroy public and private property that's going to cost taxpayer money to actually rebuild, attacking police officers, government officials, National Guards. To make the point, do you really think you're helping the Mexicans? And also there's a lot of Mexicans, American out there that are actually saying death to America, burning American flags and waving Mexico flag when you don't even want to live in Mexico. The funny thing is you're in a country that gave you the freedom for you to do that, but then you want to talk against them and talk down on them. Most of these people, they've only been in Mexico for a spring break or a vacation. You don't see them in Mexico. Literally, you would never see anybody in Mexico doing such nonsense when they have the cartel that is literally killing their people and suppressing their people. But because America gave you the freedom to do that, that's why you want to do it. All of you guys need to be locked up. And you're proving the point that you're criminals and prone to violence and you shouldn't be here. So all the stealing and whatever you guys are doing, you're just making the point. You all need to go back to Mexico. Period.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning, man. Appreciate you guys pulling up. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day to each and every one of you guys, man. I hope you're doing well. Hope you are blessed. Hope you are being safe. And hey, you could be anywhere else, in the world or in these internet streets. You could be anywhere else in the world, and you have decided to pull up and chill and hang out with us over here with the ARP family, man. And I really, really appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. I hope all is well with you guys. We're midway through the week. I'm telling you, man, these weeks, they fly by. We're already, 11 days into June. We're basically, what is that? Almost a third of the way, through the month. I mean, it's just crazy how fast, the months and the weeks, fly by. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I hope you guys are doing well, man. I definitely appreciate you all pulling up. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like button for me. Please make sure you hit that like button for me. If you haven't done so, let me show some love to my folks in the chat. Shout out to all the ARP family members, man. Thank you guys so much, man, for rocking with me and supporting the channel in that way, being a part of the ARP family. Shout out to Lori Otteson with the first person in the chat this morning. Says happy hump day from California. Praying for peace out here this morning. Yes, we're definitely praying for peace. We're also praying for our Leos, our law enforcement officers, the National Guard, the Marine Corps that's been called out there. Let's keep these people lifted up in prayer. Let's keep the people out there, that are protesting and rioting. Let's keep them lifted up in prayer as well. And hopefully that they will, come to their senses. You hope, right? We hope. Shout out to Buddha. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. West Sand Lake, New York in the house. What up, Scott Young? Tennessee in the building. PK Krillin, another Tennessean in the building. What up, Hunter? How you doing this morning? South Carolina in the house. What's up, Marla? How you doing this morning? God bless America 856. Redefine Queen. What's going on with you? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Tom? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Kevin Caldwell? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Pam Westcott out of Michigan in the building. Paul Lefty in the building. Cool Ramon in the house. Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Kathy Young? Insanity's darling. I think I might have said that one twice, but all is well. What's going on, Quincy James? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What up, Nelly? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well, with you guys. What up, Hobo Rob Prospecting? We got Brian M in the house. Vicky Vale, appreciate you pulling up. We got Joe Shaliba, appreciate you pulling up. Says, good morning from Saudi Arabia. God bless our president, Donald Trump. He is loved here in Saudi Arabia by the Saudis and us Americans here, man. Be safe out there, man. Stay cool out there in Saudi Arabia. Appreciate you pulling up this morning and supporting the channel and checking us out, man. Checking us out. Thank you very much. What's up, Donald Lovejoy? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well. Who else we got up in here? What up, B? How you doing this morning? How's it going this morning? Hey, I need to link up with you. We got to figure out, I guess a better way to screen folks. I'm not 100% sure how to go about doing that properly within the application. And you had mentioned something in the email. So I'm going to try to reach out to you once we get off of here. If there's not a call, if there's a call, we'll jump on there and then I'll ask you then and we can kind of discuss it then. But yeah, appreciate you pulling up this morning, B. What's up, Scott Williams? How's it going this morning? Mesa, Arizona in the house, 108 degrees today in Mesa. Woo! That's too daggone hot. I couldn't live out there. I couldn't live out there, man. Goodness gracious. I couldn't. We got Sarah. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Dr. Kyla? How you doing this morning? Steve Edminster out of Buffalo. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Who else we got up in here? Robert Dalton. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Francis Fernity, appreciate you pulling up. Brian Gable, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Abraxas2121, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Barbara D. and Tony, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Freddie Franks, how's it going? Erie, PA in the building. Top Tarek Gunner, good Lord, I had to make sure I'm reading that properly. Williams, appreciate you pulling up. Florida in the house, shout out to you, appreciate you pulling up. What up, Don White, appreciate you pulling up. Indiana in the house. Joan Simone, appreciate you pulling up. Georgia in the building. Shout out to you. American Girl, how's it going this morning? Oh, American Girl says, holy guacamole, no shortage of news. Just heard the leader of Al-Qaeda. I need to do some research on that. We're going to check that out. Voice for the Voiceless, appreciate you pulling up. Shawtown in the house. Natalie Garner, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Who else we got up in here today? Steve Watt, appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Kiwan? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well with you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Liam Lane out of UK, appreciate you pulling up. It's good morning for us, but good afternoon to you. Thank you very much. Jose Ramirez, Oceanside, Cali in the house. Appreciate you pulling up early this morning. Thank you very much. All my California folks that get up bright and early, or y'all listening to us, listening to this, as you're getting correct, getting your day started and getting situated. Definitely appreciate that, man. That is awesome. Who else we got up in here this morning? Mary D, appreciate you pulling up. What up, Leslie Aaron? How you doing this morning, sister? TWB, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What's up, Jane Fecto? How you doing this morning? Honeybee 52,000, appreciate you pulling up this morning. K-Shay, how's it going? What up, Jolie? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Callie in the building. Mark Skibby, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Hope all is well. Dr. Kyla says, what's going on? Safe in Michigan, USA. Absolutely. Appreciate you pulling up as always. Sterling McCann, appreciate you pulling up. Says, did I really catch this live? Yes, you did. Y'all make sure y'all show Steve. It looks like, Sterling, I'm sorry. It looks like it might be his first time catching the live show. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, man. Thank you very much. What's up, Kelly Red? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well. We got Black Arab in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Wonder how many Americans are languishing in Africa illegally. I don't even know if that's a good question. I would assume that there's probably a few. There's illegal people all around the world. It wouldn't surprise me, but welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Love and peace. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Peace and graces to you. Peace and blessings to you. What up, Gary Wiley? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Another Indiana and in the house. Appreciate you pulling up. We got Asar Orion, 7. Appreciate you pulling up. Pine Bluff, Arkansas in the house. Jackson Gary out of the North Georgia mountains. Appreciate you pulling up. We got a lot of Southerners. We got a lot of West Coast folks up in here this morning, man. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate y'all pulling up this morning. We got an encouraging word. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, C. Bergie? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well. Edward, appreciate you pulling up. Just Vibe, based in him. Appreciate you pulling up. Colorado in the house. Carla Mortimer, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. Rafe Mad Monkey Design, Netherlands in the house. Appreciate you pulling up. Y'all make sure y'all show Rafe some love in the chat. We got Kelly Red, Steve Watts, Swayze 33. What's going on with you, brother? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. What's up, Michelle? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up as well. Who else we got up in here? Annie Love, Bullet Pretzels. Appreciate you pulling up. Need Grace. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Rockville, Maryland in the house. We got a Marylander in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Mark Patterson in the building. Northern California in the house. Hairball 1. Appreciate you pulling up, man. What's up with you? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. We got Tracy DeCambra. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. California in the building. Oh, man, we got a lot of Californians in the house today. Shout out to you all, man. Krista Knight, what's going on with you? Kathy 702, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. And thank you for recognizing the beard, man. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. We got Sam in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Yeah, Sam Blazing Game. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. But yeah, yeah, Walmart, one of the Walmart owners, supporting folks over in these riots, man, it's ridiculous. She bought, a number of these ballistic masks. That may be something that we'll discuss a little later today. Who else we got up in here? All right. Kurt Samo, Angelos, hopefully I'm pronouncing that properly. Yosemite, Kentucky in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. Natalie Garner, appreciate you pulling up. Oh, what's going on, Unc? How you doing? Love and peace in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. It's early out there for you guys, but I already know what time it is. You out there grinding. Who else we got up in here this morning? Kate Hack in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well. What's up, Jennifer Gray? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Bradford Sullivan. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. If you haven't done so already, man, make sure y'all hit that like button for me. If you have not done so already, we're going to get the show started, man. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Anybody that joins the ARP family, that will stop the show, will be acknowledged. Anybody that gives an ARP family membership, that will stop the show. That will be acknowledged as well. The week's flying by, man. The week is flying by, but we got a lot to get into today. Looks like I think it's just going to be me today. I don't think we're going to do any call-ins, and I don't think I don't have any guests lined up for today. So you guys just get me. Don't think the show is going to be super long today. We're going to try to keep things compact today as much as we can anyway. Y'all know we can kind of go off on a tangent, and next thing you know, this thing will be 3 hours. Hopefully that won't be the case today. What's up, Vivian McAlexander? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Independent Peach 24. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. Who else we got up in here? Kathy Clinton. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Spaces? How's it going, brother? Jeffrey Wisnett. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope all is well. And we got Iris Vera in the house. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. B Mark, what's going on? Lion Lane, what's going on? Rob Rosario, Fort Lauderdale in the building. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Kate Hack out of Sunshine Coast, Australia. Look at that, man. The show is international. We all over the place, man. The Netherlands, Saudi Arabia. Who else did I see up in here? Australia. There was somebody else that I saw earlier today. Was it New Zealand? Oh, man, I apologize. But yeah, international, man. This is awesome. Yeah, we literally got folks all across the country and in other countries that support the channel and come over here and hang out with us, man, and enjoy what we're doing over here, man. It's freaking phenomenal. It is. It's really, really phenomenal. All right. Kathy 702 out of Vegas. All right. All right, so we're gonna get things started. Again, hit that like button for me if you'd like to support the channel, financially today. Obviously, super chat, super thanks. If you got something to say, that will stop the show. It will interrupt things and stop the show. Obviously, ARP family, gifting ARP family membership, man. That's like some of the best ways. Other ways to support the channel financially is through Cash App. You'll see that in the description box. You can buy your man a coffee. That link's in the description box as well. I don't know if the PayPal is in there, but I believe that might be in there as well. If you'd like to support the channel in that way, definitely appreciate it, man. I'm grateful. I'm humbled, by you guys pulling up. We got 342 people in the building. Blues, I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes, but we should be well over 300 likes at this point. So make sure y'all hit that like button for me if you hadn't done so already. Make sure you hit that like button for me if you have not done so already. Yeah. All right, bet V. Got it. Either way, yeah, we'll link up today. And we'll get some things figured out. But I definitely appreciate you and what you add and how you help me, because Lord knows I need it. What up, B Scapes Books out of Houston, Texas, man. Shout out to you. D Law out of New Hampshire in the building. Shout out to you all. We got Rita NYC out of New York City. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got the New Yorkers in the house. All right. All right. Shout out to B Nichols with the $5 super chat kicking things off. Good morning from Lake of the Ozarks. I believe that's out in Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel this morning. Thank you very much, man. So we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off, man. Again, if you haven't done so, hit that like button for me. What's going on, Rose? Rose is first. Good morning. Says she's working remote this morning. All right. Appreciate you pulling up and hanging out with us. Earbud in the ear, getting work done. Shout out to you. What up, DD? How's it going? Upstate South Carolina in the building. What's going on? All right. What's up, Dion? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well. All right. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I didn't miss any super chats or anything along those lines. I think we are almost caught up there. Yep. Lake Ozarks is not too far from me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Moon Doggy? Nebraska in the building. What's up, Zephyr K9? Shout out all the blues, B, Zephyr K9, Coaster. Who else? Brett Montgomery. I'm sure T.A. Caskey will pull up here shortly. Shout out to all you guys, man. I definitely appreciate the blues, helping me to kind of keep this thing going and keeping things safe. Shout out to Stephen Clark out of England. Let me show him some love. UK. Happy birthday, U.S. Army. Shout out to you, Stephen Clark, man. Appreciate you pulling up from across the pond. Shout out to you all, and shout out to all my international viewers and the people that support the channel internationally, man. Shout out to you guys. What's up, baby lungs? Burnsville, Minnesota, in the building. LJ Taylor said you should hold a raffle and let us guess how many black T-shirts you own. Hey, I am very, very simple. I am very simple. My wife, she says it. She's like, you got more. I am, believe it or not, I don't really wear the gray shirts. I have charcoal gray and black. Those are like my favorite colors. And I literally rock a black T-shirt almost day-to-day basis. It just, you don't even have to think about it. And black pretty much goes with everything. I always wear a hat, and I got tons of hats or whatever. Because, when you like this, hair challenged, we got to keep the dome covered up, man. Because if not, man, we'll have some problems. But Yeah, but I got a ton of black shirts. Honestly, I'm not even for sure how many black shirts I have at this point, but I do have a lot of them. And thankfully, my wife, I have a good wife, and she makes sure that, the clothes stay clean and I can stay fresh. So, I don't have to go without. But I couldn't even tell you how many black t-shirts I actually have right now. Yeah, that's crazy. Y'all are a mess. But I mean, it's just easy. I mean, you could put a black t-shirt and it can literally go with anything, any types of cargo shorts. It can literally go with any color, jeans. You can't go wrong with a black t-shirt. You just can't. You can't go wrong with a black t-shirt. You can even dress it up. Throw some slacks on, black t-shirt, throw a sports coat on or some sort, and you can even dress up a black t-shirt. I mean, you just can't go wrong with a black t-shirt. Q1 said, I've never met anyone whose favorite color is gray. Yeah, I like the charcoal gray and I like black t-shirts. I really, really do. And I got a lot of gray stuff. A lot of gray stuff. My wife is like, you're literally, my wife's the opposite. She's like the color. She's got the oranges and the greens and the blues. I'm the complete opposite. I'm pretty much a black t-shirt almost on a day-to-day basis. Almost on a day-to-day basis, even going to the gym. Hey, Di, when you don't have what a lot of other people have, you kind of can get into this, kind of covetousness. I mean, I don't even know what I would look like with hair because I've literally been bald and I've been rocking a bald head for, at this point now, probably about 16 years. At this point, if I showed you some pictures of me back in the day with hair, you guys probably maybe wouldn't recognize me or may not like it. But we'll work on that, LJ. We'll work on that. We'll figure something out. Yeah, hey Chad, I'm like that, man. I buy them, not necessarily about a dozen, but a lot of times, there's a couple places you can get 4-packs, 5-packs, things of that nature. And then, just, buy a couple of them, buy a couple packs like that. But let's get the show started, man. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Blues, if we can get an update on how many likes or where we are with the likes so we can make sure that we get that thing ramped up. We're over 300, we're well over 300 people, at this point. Make sure you guys hit that like button for me. But from all the hubbub in mainstream media, all of it, all of the mainstream media, that's going on, you would think that people are like, wait a minute, this is just too much. This is too much when it comes to Trump's policies. It's too much, but hold up. Because the reality is this. All right, thank you, Zephyr. We're at 353 likes. The reality is this. It's not what the mainstream media wants you to think. That they're out here, painting Trump as some kind of, overreaching authoritarian, calling the Marine Corps deployment to LA a militarization move and acting like the riots are just some misunderstood, peaceful protest. And I mean, cut it out, man. If you guys had some time to watch the video I did, Nick Shirley's phenomenal. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nick Shirley. If you're not, watch the video I put out yesterday evening. Just reacting to Nick Shirley's video when he was out there in the midst, he's in the belly of the beast, out there in LA. These people were, it's wild. It is wild to say the least. Some people couldn't even get through the video, to be honest with you. And honestly, even for me, there were some points where I wanted to cut it off, but I was doing a reaction and doing a reaction to it. So I wanted to let it play. But it's just crazy. And there's a lot of people out there that were either out there and didn't know why they were out there. Meaning they're just, hey, this is the opportunity to loot. This is an opportunity to go cut a fool. Some of these people may have received that $65,000 to $12,000 to go out there and protest. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about there's Craigslist ads out there for protesters. And they're paying these people anywhere from $6,500 to $12,000 to be a protester, essentially. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the truth is this, though. Most Americans are nodding right along with President Trump right now. Even those that may not have voted for him, they're not for the illegal immigration. Most of us are okay with legal immigration. We understand that there are people that come over here legally, they become productive citizens, and they are additions, they become assets to our country. But we have a large swath of people that came over here over the past 4 years, and there's a whole lot more that came over, probably over the past 20, 30 years. They come over here and they basically live off the system. You know what I'm saying? They're on assistance. I mean, some of these people are legitimately, $13,000, $14,000 in food stamps, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in cash assistance. They get all the Medicaid services, free insurance, free health care, things that most of us regular Americans, you got to work your tail off to obtain. These people are getting it for free. Hadn't paid $1 into the system, didn't have a family member that has paid $1 into the system. But they expect, there's a lot of entitlement. Like even in that video with Nick Shirley, there's a lot of entitlement there. There are a lot of people that they feel like they are owed something. Just watching that video, how many people out there that really just felt like they are owed something. They feel entitled. But that's kind of what happens when you just give people free stuff all the time. What's up, Chester? How you doing this morning, brother? When you give people free stuff, think about this. If you have kids, the worst thing that you could do for your kids is spoil them rotten. That is like the worst thing that you could do for them. They need to go through a little adversity. They need to work on, they need to have some situations to where they can actually go to work and earn some things for themselves because they'll feel a lot better about it. They'll appreciate it a lot more. How many of you guys, and I'm sure some of you guys hadn't done it, but how many of you guys know someone that bought a car for a kid and they bought probably a really, really nice car, bought a really nice car for a kid, for their kid, only for the kid to go out there, and crash it, destroy it within 6 months. And then expect either something similar or a better car because they hadn't had to work for it. See, for me, both of my children, they got the same deal. Both of my kids, they got the same deal from me. You go and you work, whatever you stack up, we'll match it. So we can help you get a nice car so you don't have a car note. We'll match it. But you gotta have some skin in the game. You have to. Because if not, you won't appreciate it. You gotta have some skin in the game. And unfortunately, you got a lot of people that have come over here and they hadn't had to work for anything that they've been given so far. So you have a lot of people out there that when it gets taken away, when they get cut off, they feel like I deserve. It's a lot of entitlement. So you got a lot of Americans out there, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on, they're looking at this and like, man, this ain't right. We got to get up and go to work every day. We have to get up and go to work every day for what we have. Y'all should have to do the same thing. You have a lot of Americans out there that are watching this and they see the chaos. They see President Trump's response and they're saying, finally, someone is deciding to do something about this because this illegal immigration situation, man, it's been a mess and it's been a mess for quite some time. And it's not just that people are rioting. And clearly they are, regardless of what Cory Booker would want to tell you or Maxine Waters or any of the rest of these, bootlicks out there. Regardless of what they'll say. These aren't really peaceful protests. These people are out here looting. These people are out here, they're out here looting, they're out here beating on people. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. You got stores ransacked, windows smashed. Small businesses are basically at risk of basically shutting their businesses down and not being able to move forward after this. Because even if they do have, business insurance and the insurance may pay them out, but they may not be able to pay or afford the new policy after the fact, because the insurance is going to go up. What's up, Renee Suzanne? How you doing this morning? But I want you guys to see this right here, man. These are the peaceful protesters that they keep telling us about. Now that looks like a Foot Locker. That's what that looks like to me. It looks like a Foot Locker. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a Finish Line, something along those lines. But my question to you all is this. If your cause is so just, why are you looting? That's my question to you all. If the cause out there is so just, why are they looting? Why are they burning buildings and burning cars? What does fighting for so-called immigrant rights have to do with grabbing flat screen sneakers and Lord knows what else? And then burning American flags. Like, I don't understand it. If you want to be here, should you, kind of think about assimilating a little?
But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the two senators from here. I think you guys, are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a bad time for them to say no. I got you. I got those two votes.
I mean, I understand Trump's sentiment, but that's not going to happen. Supreme Court has already, basically said that's not something that can be done. You burn the flag and you go to jail for a year. That's not going to happen. But a lot of people are frustrated. You come over here, you're fighting to stay here, but you're waving other flags. I mean, I'll say this, man, as uncomfortable as this makes me, this sort of thing, man, it's protected under the First Amendment. I don't like to see, our flag being burnt. I don't like it. I don't like seeing it. As someone that served the nation, as someone who has family members who are serving the nation, as someone who has a child who is serving the nation right now, this is the only country we got. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that we're not flawed, but this is the country that we have. This is it. And we should be striving to make it as great and as good as we can possibly make it. We should be. But when you have people that come over here that don't have an appreciation for the country, again, I'm not saying it's perfect, but the places that they left were not perfect. We're far from perfect. Shout out to MH Caffey for gifting 5 ARP family memberships, man. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. But the First Amendment does protect these people from that year in jail that President Trump mentioned. It does protect them. Am I for people going to jail for burning the flag? Honestly, no, I'm not. Do I think that you should, we should help expedite their, expedite their process out the country? Absolutely. Absolutely. But having said all this, two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once. This is lawless disrespect. That's what it is. It's lawlessness and it's disrespect of the nation that you claim that you want to be a part of, that you want to stay in. Now, I'll say this, man, as comfortable, as this makes me, like I said, this thing, it is protected under the First Amendment. It is. It is. But what we're seeing and what we're watching, I mean, it's misguided, it's chaotic, and honestly, it's a slap in the face to every American who gets up every day, works their tails off, pays taxes, and does everything that they can to follow the rules. It's a slap in the face to these people. I mean, you have people literally out here burning the flag of the country that is supposedly oppressing you, but you don't want to go back to the country that you came from. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. If I decided to move to another nation and I found out that, hey, this place isn't good for me, hey, that means that it's time to pack up and leave. I'm going back home. So all that we see, out there in California, all that we see, and what's going on heading east out of Thailand, shout out to you, appreciate you pulling up. But all of this that we see, just leads me to believe that this is either some random outburst or it's a setup, one of the two. Trump made it clear that sanctuary cities were going to lose federal funding and there'd be federal operations. Now, I'd like to see Congress get involved in this sanctuary city foolishness. There should be no sanctuary cities in America, and there should be no sanctuary states in America. I'd like to see Congress. I'd like to see the House. I'd like to see the Senate get on board with this. There should be no such thing as a sanctuary anything. The nation is sovereign. Our borders should be secure. And if you want to come to America, come over here the right way, and then come be an asset. Don't come over here illegally under the cover of darkness, and then you come with your hands out with this give me, you owe me mindset, this entitled mindset. Don't come over here with that. Come over here and be an asset. Seriously. I'd like to see Congress really, really get involved in this and really put a bill out there. We know it won't happen, but I'd like to see it happen. This sanctuary city foolishness is ridiculous. The fact that places in the country, different cities, different states can say, hell, this is a sanctuary for undocumented or illegal immigrants. That's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I'm really, really tired of it. What did California Democrats do when ICE showed up? What did they do? They turned it into a whole big drama, blaming the federal government for overreach and sowing chaos. They said it was overreach. It's not, though. The federal government's responsibility is to make sure that our borders is maintained. Now, there is a decent amount of government overreach, but when it comes to securing the borders, and making sure that people that shouldn't be here, are deported, that's the federal government's job. Seriously, that is their job. And they don't have many in the grand scheme of things. But that one is actually one of the main jobs of the federal government, is to make sure that they maintain secure borders, which is something the previous administration failed to do. The feds, they wouldn't have to go in if people in California out there, if they just did their jobs, if Gavin Newsom, if Karen Bass, if they did their jobs, they decided not to do it. Instead, they let it escalate. And now you've got looting, you've got vandalism, you got a city on fire. It's like they wanted this to happen just to prove a point. This is by design. And now they're saying that come June 14th, which I believe is Saturday, they're going to have mass protests all across the country. Mass protests across the country. Hopefully it doesn't turn into what's going on out there in California. You want to go out there and peacefully assemble and protest, I mean, that's your First Amendment right to do so. That's your First Amendment right to do so. But I'm telling you, this doesn't look look organic. It doesn't smell nor sound organic. It doesn't. It sounds like this is staged. And the more and more that we find out, and the more and more that we see, like, man, a lot of these people, man, there's a lot of plants. There's a lot of plants out there. It's really, really crazy. You have people like Karen Bass and Governor Newsom, other people of that ilk, of that party over there, that want you to believe that you can't enforce the law without riots. That immigrant rights means, stealing Nikes. I mean, this is crazy. Because when you loot, you're not fighting for rights, you're fighting for chaos. You're not protesting injustice, you're protesting order. And Trump, hey, he's not backing down. And he shouldn't. I mean, he's got 700 Marines from fully deployed, 700 Marines fully deployed, alongside the initial 2,000, and the additional or extra 2,000 National Guard troops authorized for deployment. I mean, that's not a suggestion. That's a promise kept. And while the left continues to lose their mind, calling it unlawful and provocative, the polls say something different. The polls are singing a completely different tune when it comes to the riots out in LA. An Insider Advantage poll, which was highly accurate in 2024, I mean, it shows this, man. I want you guys to see this right here. Hold up. This particular poll here, it says, do you approve Trump's National Guard deployment? Almost 60% of Americans say yes. Almost 60%. 6 out of 10 people are in lockstep with what's going on right now. 60%. And to be honest with you, I don't know exactly who they polled, but I would assume that if you get on this side of things, you get up in middle America, that number is probably going to be a whole heck of a lot higher. Yeah. 59% of people, almost 60% of people support deploying the National Guard, with 39% of them against it. And then there's Trump's approval rating on immigration. I mean, it's through the roof right now. It's higher than it's ever been. It's higher than it's ever been. And not only with American-born voters. And why? Because he's saying what we're all thinking. Enforce the law, protect our borders, restore order. And that is what's happening. And we're 100% here for it, man.
Off on the fact that.
Shout out to Hunter with the $5 super chat. He says, just got a chance to hop back in, but yeah, this is BLM all over again. Yeah, those Summer of Love riots, the Summer of Love quote unquote protests, which basically turned into riots. I mean, that situation was a mess. It was a mess. And it looks like, this summer is going to be another situation just like that. That's exactly what it's looking like.
Start off on the fact that immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically, about Donald Trump?
Yeah, so, you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters were one of his weakest spots. But look at this, Trump's vote share in presidential elections among, again, immigrant citizens, those who are registered to vote. Look at this. In 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this. In 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters. And Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal. So there may be all this stuff, right, about undocumented immigrants and Trump being harsh on them, but immigrant voters themselves have increasingly liked Donald Trump and have increasingly moved to the right on immigration and into the Republican camp.
Well, then on that, what you're getting at, how immigrant citizens, voters, feel about people in the country illegally.
Yeah, and this is where it all kind of comes together, Kate Baldwin. Look at this. The net favorable rating, immigrants who are here illegally, among immigrant citizens, again, those registered to vote. In 2020, look at this, plus 23 points on the net favorable rating. But look at where we were in 2024, minus 6 points, underwater. So immigrant citizens have become increasingly unfavorable in their views of those immigrants who are here illegally. So I think it's so important when we're talking about this debate from a political angle to separate those out who are undocumented immigrants versus those who are here legally and those who are citizens and those who are voters, because that group of voters has felt increasingly distant from those immigrants who are here legally. And so again, when we're talking about this, at least from a political angle, this is why Donald Trump feels so comfortable, because in fact, amongst the group that you would think that would be most opposed to this, in fact, they become increasingly favorable, not just towards Donald Trump, but towards a Republican point of view on immigration and becoming distant from those immigrants who are here illegally.
Yeah, an important baseline to consider as this plays out.
Yes, we'll see where we are in a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks so much, Harry. John.
Shout out to Hunter. I'm a Hunter with the $20 super chat. Says they brought 10 plus million illegals that a good number are military age men. They 1000% did this to hire these illegals as their own militia in the case they lose the 2024 election. This is their failsafe in action. You get no argument from me on that, Hunter. And thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel this morning. You're absolutely right. They brought over thousands, millions of military age men. We're looking at the Hispanic population. Let's not forget the Chinese population that came over here. Heather Munoz said it was 30 million, to be honest. I mean, those numbers are all over the place, right? I've heard everything from 11 million upwards past over 20 million. We don't really know. Because for whatever reason, mainstream media won't actually do their job and give us real numbers. So we really don't know who they are. And then the next census is not until 2030. So we really won't know. And the reality of it is this. Tom Homan, and the crew, they're not going to get rid of 27 million people. That's just not going to happen. They're trying to get rid of the bad actors, the gang members, the chomos, the PDF files, those types of folks. They're trying to get rid of those people. The people, that are taking over apartment complexes, those types of folks that are taking over full neighborhoods, those types of folks. They're trying to get rid of them. There's like 1.5 million people that already have deportation orders. They're going after them. The media would make you believe that they're just riding down the street, pulling people off the street. That's not really happening. That's not something that is happening. But they did say if they go and find someone who is on their list, and there are others that are with them that are undocumented, illegal immigrants, they're going to go and snatch them up. They're not going to just leave them either. But you need to be, essentially almost guilty by association is pretty much what it is. But thank you, Hunter, for the $20 super chat. What's up, Playboy Billy? How's it going this morning? Yeah, but as you guys saw, right there, from Harry Eaton, I always mess his name up. Most Americans support the administration on immigration, and legal immigrants support them as well. I mean, think about this. I mean, it's a slap in the face if you're a legal immigrant who came over here, you paid the money, maybe it took you 4 or 5, maybe 10 years to get the status. You came over here, you're an asset, you've done the right things. And here it is, you got some people come through the back door, and not only are they coming through the back door, they didn't have to pay what you've done. They don't pay taxes. They didn't have to pay what you had to pay to get here. They didn't have to wait. And these people got tons and tons, thousands of dollars of just free stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a slap in the face to those people. Speaking my mind, says they are trying to eliminate and replace black people. Yeah. When it comes to the Democrat Party, they understand that black people are starting to become a lot more politically astute. They also understand that black people are starting to understand the true history of the Democratic Party in this country. And once you understand the true history of the Democratic Party in this country as a black person, you'd be hard pressed to continue to support these people. Now, again, I say this all the time on the channel. I am not here to tell you to run to the Republican Party, but if you're a black person and you support the channel, I'm telling you that you can't, with good conscience, continue to support the Democratic Party. Go independent and look at the candidates, especially on the local level. Look at the candidates that's been presented to you, look at their policies, figure out what their track record is, and then make your vote accordingly. Seriously. But if you take the time to get an understanding of who the Democratic Party is, you wouldn't support those people. You wouldn't. You would not support them. I mean, people got to understand that the Democratic Party is so bad. The Nazi Party of Germany, they came over here to study the Democratic Party, their policy. They came over here to study the Democratic Party's Jim Crow laws, their redlining laws. And they said that they couldn't implement that in Germany because it was too crazy. That would be taking things too far. This is from the Nazi Party in Germany. Just take a little bit of time to do some research. Just a little bit. You actually have legal immigrants here that have gone to the super far right on this issue. Because the reality of it is that the people who followed the law, who came here, entered legally, those are the people that are entitled to the opportunities that present itself here in America. It provides, it provides them an opportunity, and they should. And they should be upset. They should be. And they should be, rightfully angry when others try to evade the law to obtain the same opportunities that they had to pay and work for. And in some cases, wait for. You got a lot of legal immigrants out here who have worked their tails off to leave their country. And most do not want this. They do not want this to turn into the one that they left. They don't want it. And it's not just legal immigrants. Back in April, CNN had to admit that most Americans, over half, also support mass deportations. People got to understand, man, this illegal immigration thing, man, it is a drain on society. It's a drain on taxpayer resources. It actually hurts the very communities, that the Democrats say that they want to help. It actually hurts those communities. When they brought in, 20-some-odd million, or more, some people say upwards of 30 million illegal immigrants. It drives wages down. Some of these people come over here and they get tons and tons of free stuff. They'll work up under the table. They're willing to work for less than what the minimum wage is. And it drives wages down. So like here in Maryland, our minimum wage, I think it's like maybe $14 an hour. Why pay $14 to a citizen when I can pay $10 to an illegal? If you're in business, I mean, the number one cost of most business owners is their human capital. It's their workforce. That is the number one expense for every business out there. So when you can cut cost, when you can cut your human capital cost by hiring illegals and not being fined, not being punished for it, they're going to do it. I don't think it's right, but they're going to do it.
All undocumented immigrants, voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
Yeah. This is why people are siding with Trump. And it's not just because he's delivering. Lord knows he is. It's because you can't trust the Democrat Party. You can't trust these people. Cory Booker literally got on TV the other day and said, hey, these people are peaceful. They're not looting. They're not rioting. They're not doing anything. And then we showed you a flash of people basically throwing bricks and rocks at the cops. The American people are rejecting the Democrats because you can't trust these people. You can't trust mainstream media to tell you the truth. Case in point, Trump was asked the other day or today in the Oval Office when he last called Governor Newsom. He was asked about it. When's the last time you reached out to Governor Newsom? I want you guys to hear this.
Time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave him a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. Los Angeles would be not a lot different than what you saw take place in California and Los Angeles just a little while ago.
Yeah. So Trump said yesterday that he called Gavin Newsom a day ago. So that would have been Monday. And then Gavin Newsom tweets out this. I want you guys to see. This is why people don't trust these folks, man. This is why people don't trust them. Give me a second. Bear with me here. Look at this. So this is the tweet that Gavin Newsom put out. There was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that the president deploying Marines onto our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. Okay. Okay. So you guys see that. President Trump says that he did reach out. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, said that there was no call, not even a voicemail. And then he goes on to spew the same talking points about the Marines, saying that Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines onto our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. Well, as it turns out, not only does he know who he's talking to, he even brought the receipts. You guys got to see it for yourself. He brought the receipts. So Trump drops evidence of a phone call between him and Gavin Newsom after Gavin claimed that there was no call. Gavin Newsom's a liar. There you go. Here's the call log right there. It says June 7th, 1:23 a.m. And then you have Gavin Newsom. Here's his tweet. I think they still call him tweets on X, even though it's X now. I mean, it's crazy, man. You can't trust these people. Here's the call log. Here is the call log. You can't trust these people, man. Now, I'm not saying that politicians don't lie. I'm not saying that. We know, on both sides, they lie. We understand it. But come on, man. Don't be so blatant. Don't be so blatant. Here goes the receipt showing that President Trump actually called him. Although on June 7th, what was it? It was June 7th. So on Saturday, this past weekend, when the riots broke out. I mean, these people, they something else, man.
Gavin Newsom and President Trump. Gavin Newsom, after President Trump said in the noon hour in the Oval Office that he called him yesterday or the other day, Gavin Newsom tweeted the following. He said, quote, "There was no call, Not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines on our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. Well, President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call, Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning. Which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds. And then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles. So, Governor, over to you for the response.
I was just going to say that's next, right? We're waiting to see what if Governor Newsom has a response to the president's. Essentially, what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was made.
It's all about
and
the
long
receipts.
Conversation. Yeah, exactly.
All
In a
about the
16-minute
receipts.
conversation. As you mentioned, as things were heating up is the timing of that call, as things were really just beginning to get started. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Dan, as the president.
So the president calls Gavin Newsom on Saturday. Let's set a basic timeline real fast. Let's set a basic timeline real fast. So he calls him on Saturday because the facts, they do matter. Facts do matter. The protest started, or we'll say erupted, last week, Friday. Here it is. We're almost a week into this. Goodness gracious, time flies. We're almost a week into this. June 6th is when ICE raids sparked clashes in LA. And by Saturday, it was full-blown chaos, riots, looting, flag burning, attacking the police, so forth and so on, so forth and so on, so forth and so on. You guys have seen the videos. Trump calls Newsom telling him, hey, you got to get your act together. I'm not going to use the language that he used, but y'all know what he said. Get it under control, man. That's your job. Get it under control. Trying to coordinate a response. But instead of working together, Newsom and the Democrats fanned the flames. Meanwhile, the violence escalated. Trump then authorizes 2,000 National Guard troops. And by Monday, another 2,000 were on the way, plus 700 Marines. But the Democrats, they kept doubling down, coordinating with activist groups, not law enforcement, and letting the city burn. All the while, California Democrats are blaming Trump and the federal government for the escalation. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make it up. Can't make it up. Shout out to MDme.x joining the ARP family. Thank you very much. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate you supporting me and what we're doing over here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want you guys to see this right here. And let me pull this up. Pull that down. Yeah. So Newsom, he's saying that, he's here, quote unquote, he's out there, he's trying to keep the peace. And, MDme.x, thank you for joining and welcome to the ARP family. Thank you very much. But you got Newsom out there lying his tail off, saying that he's there to try to keep the peace, not playing into Trump's political games, which I find quite funny. I find it quite hilarious. Honestly, they have nothing else. Remember just a couple of months ago, this was the same old tactics, man. Deflect and blame. Deflect and blame. Oh, it's Madam. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Madam X. I got it now. Sorry about that. But Newsom's not new to this game. He's not. He's not new to this, man. If you guys recall back during the Palisade fires, y'all remember this?
In the public safety phase.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. It's people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. families completely torn asunder, churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Yeah, so this is same playbook, different disaster. Now it's riots, and he's blaming Trump all over again. I mean, it's overreach. Call it overreach, unlawful, political games. I mean, these people are ridiculous, man. They take no accountability. I mean, it's the same old song and dance over and over and over again with these people. And you can say the same thing for Karen Bass, who's jumping in on the bandwagon as well. It's ICE that's fueling the riots. This is what she had to say. She said it was ICE that's fueling the riots. These people are ridiculous, man. They are.
The Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. So
Thank
what are
you
you and your police force? I know how busy you are preparing for the hours ahead. What are you expecting on that front?
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday. When we find out when and where the other raids are going to happen, that will determine how the police.
I don't know if LA has ever really been peaceful. It's one of the most dangerous cities in the country, has been for quite some time. Yeah, but she got the first cause in the casual chain, which negates all the rest. She did. If Democrats, weren't pro illegal immigration, there would have been no raids. There'd been no reason for it. But Americans aren't buying it, man. We're not. The average American is not buying what they're selling, because we saw it in the Summer of Love. Those quote unquote mostly peaceful protests that burn cities to the ground, burn small businesses. And as much as they, love to deflect and lay blame on everyone else but themselves, you got a California sheriff from Riverside. He's got a different story. He's got a different take on this. I want you guys to hear this for yourself.
Appalled that we are at this point in society where people come out and think that this is okay. And then it makes it 100 times worse when you have politicians that are encouraging it, that are not calling it what it is, which is criminal activity. The lying to all of us, lying to the media, and purposely using the word peaceful, while maybe they should look at their phones or their TVs, because I have law enforcement officers that are being shot at, that are being injured, that are being hurt, vehicles being damaged, things being burned, and they're calling it peaceful. It is a disgusting display of partisan politics. I wish they would all just put their phones down, be quiet, and let law enforcement handle this how it should be handled, which is the complete enforcement of law and holding criminals accountable. It's rocks, bottles, tools, weapons being thrown at us. You watched multiple vehicles destroyed yesterday by bricks. There are people hauling bricks into this zone and then dropping them off and leaving them there for weapons. And then our deputies and our police officers they're being used against us. And we're being hit with bottles. We're being hit with glass bottles, with tools, with rocks, with bricks. This is not a peaceful protest. It isn't even a protest anymore. It is a violent riot. And if they are going to try and do harm, then it is the responsibility of law enforcement to win that confrontation. And all of them need to go to jail. We know that gunfire has been reported. I know that there is a report of an officer being shot already. I'm not sure of the circumstances, so I don't know if it was pertaining to what is going on, or if it was involving something in the peripheral. I don't know. It's quite frankly, it's irrelevant. we are responsible for keeping people and property safe. And when people come and attack us, then we need to make sure that they're held accountable. They are trying to violently influence something by political action. That is what this is. That is what everything that the Constitution stands against. That is what law enforcement stands against, and that is what will facilitate the downfall of our civilized society. A civilized society has an adherence to the rule of law, and there is consequence for breaking that social compact. And when politicians encourage this behavior, which that's exactly what they are doing, is encouraging this behavior, encouraging people to come out and participate in these riots, and they lie to us and say that they're encouraging a peaceful protest. No, they're not. They know exactly what they're doing. This is far beyond peaceful protest. This is now a political action, and they are using violence and the threats of violence in order to get their way. And we absolutely must stomp this into the ground and stop it from happening. The chief of police from the largest police agency in the country said that they are being overwhelmed. Governor Newsom needs to put his phone down, go sit in his house behind the comfort of his TV screen and a couch and be quiet, because he is doing nothing but fueling this process. He needs to stay out of the way of law enforcement. He knows nothing about this. He knows absolutely nothing about the enforcement of law. He despises the enforcement of law, and he has encouraged this, he has enabled this lawless act that is going on right now. This has been years in the making that he has encouraged. So quite frankly, I don't care what he says. He says everything in a disingenuous manner for his own personal political gain, and we are suffering the consequences.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco is done with the nonsense, and I don't blame him. You know, it's his officers that are out there putting their lives on the line right now. So I don't blame him for feeling the way that he feels. He's absolutely done with the nonsense, and he's not holding back. He's calling it like he sees it. Those anti-ICE riots in LA, they're not protests. They're violent riots. I mean, we're talking torch cars. They're torching cars with lithium batteries. We're talking torch cars. Clashes with the feds over deportation raids. And Bianco's pointing the finger right at Newsom. He says it isn't even a protest anymore. It's really just a full-out violent riot. Newsom knows exactly, he knows absolutely nothing about law enforcement. He doesn't. He doesn't. And honestly, you know, he believes that they despise the enforcement of the law. And Karen Bass, along with Governor Newsom, or Newscum, they've encouraged this. They've encouraged this. They've enabled this lawless act that is going on right now. And he's not wrong. This isn't some random cop grumbling. This is a sheriff who's seen the streets, who's dealt with the fallout, and he's calling out the governor for fueling the fire, literally and figuratively. Newsom sitting there in his fancy meeting room, surrounded by screens and coffee cups, tweeting about keeping the peace while the city's going up in flames. He's blaming Washington, blaming Trump, but the sheriff saying, nah, you did this. You've encouraged it. You enabled it. You made your city sanctuaries. You made your state a sanctuary. You've allowed, you know, just a plethora of illegal immigrants to basically, you know, suckle off the government teat. These are very strong words coming from, you know, a sitting sheriff out there in California. Very strong words. And they hit hard because it's the truth. The Democrats let this chaos brew by refusing to enforce the law, by turning a blind eye to illegal crossings. And now they're shocked when the feds step in. I mean, President Trump did run on this. President Trump did run on this. You had a swath of Americans who want this to happen. They want this to happen. The American people are no longer buying what these Democrats are selling, especially Karen Bass, Governor Newsom, Maxine Waters. I could go down the list. We've seen the pattern. Democrats cry overreach when they're the ones who let it get this bad in the first daggone place. They talk about keeping the peace, but they're the ones fanning the flames. They say that they're not playing into Trump's games, but they're the ones turning every crisis into a political circus. And while they're out here blaming Trump, he's the one out here trying to deliver, enforcing the law, protecting our borders, trying to restore order. That's why his approval rating right now is through the daggone roof right now. Because when you say what you mean and do what you say, the people notice. They respect it and they support it. And here's why.
Not they're doing protests. They're just doing just for to looting the stores and everything. So this is my store. You know, then I got the call from the ADT and they asked me that okay, there is a break into your store. So I checked in my things. I saw somebody's break into my store and called right away to police and my landlord. And I saw that they break into my store and they took a lot of merchandise from my store right now. This is so ridiculous. This doesn't look like this is for they're protesting for ICE or anything. This is they're doing just for the looting the stores and everything.
Yeah. So my question again to you guys is, does this look like a genuine protest instead of a performance art for the cameras or a moment to capitalize on and even maybe get some free stuff while you're at it? I mean, these people are out here smashing windows, grabbing goods, burning flags, and they want us to believe that this is about immigrant rights. Let's talk about this for a second, because if you're here illegally, you broke the law right off the rip. That's the reality of this. You didn't follow the process. You didn't wait in line. You didn't respect the system. And now when the law catches up to you, you're rioting. It's not a protest. It's a temper tantrum. And who's being targeted here? Mostly criminals. Some have families. Yes. And it's heartbreaking that, their own family members, would put them in this spot. But that's what's happening. They catch a criminal and they see their wife. They see the aunt. They see the cousins here. Maybe they haven't done anything, but they all got to go. It's a package deal. This was discussed a few months back. Hey, and to be honest with you, man, it wouldn't have gotten to this point. It wouldn't have gotten to this point had the Democrats secured the border. Had they not basically just let the floodgates open. Now, we understand what time it is with these people because they're playing the long game. The goal is, hey, we're going to let all these people, they want more House seats, and hopefully they can maybe turn these people into voters, or at minimum, they can get some additional House seats, and which would hopefully, for them, for their sake, they're hoping that they could get, full control in their House. Because the thing is that the Census Bureau doesn't care if you are, when the census happened, not the Census Bureau, but in the Bureau itself, but they don't care if you're citizens or not. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the country, you count, and based on the amount of people that are in a certain area, that will either give you an additional seat, additional representation, or it will take representation. That's what this is about. The reality of it is that the Democrat Party, they want another voting bloc. That's simple as that. Somebody had mentioned it earlier. The goal is to replace Black Americans in this country as the number one minority. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about this. He's been talking about this for 30, 40 years. And a lot of people didn't pay it much attention. Some folks ignored it. And here it is. It's playing out right in your face. If you guys aren't familiar with who Dr. Claude Anderson is, y'all need to go read some of his literature. He's written a plethora of books. He's been on this topic. I mean, really goes back to the 80s, but he's been talking about this for 30 to 40 years. And a lot of folks ignored him. And to an extent, he's probably been ostracized, from the Democrat Party, things of that nature. But the reality of it is this, man, the Democrat Party, the Biden-Harris administration, they let millions of people in, and they turned a blind eye. They turned a blind eye to it. And now that they're going to be going, they're in full meltdown mode because there is somebody in office saying, "Now we got to get these people up out of here. They are a drain on society." Think about it. For years, Democrats have been saying no human is illegal. But what they really mean is no vote is too illegal. They wanted those numbers, those future voters. They didn't care about the cost. They don't care. They don't care about the cost to our cities. They don't care about the cost of our safety. They don't care about the laws, the cost of the communities, law-abiding Black Americans, law-abiding brown Americans, so forth, so on. They don't care. They don't care about any of these people. It's about power. The people that they claim to champion, Black people in America, quote unquote, the Hispanic community in America, they don't care. It's about numbers for them. It's about numbers for them. And now when you have a president finally deciding to stand up and say enough's enough, the reality of it is this too. Where was the uproar during the Obama administration? Dude deported like 3 million people. There were no riots and there was no uproar. But when Trump gets in there and says, "Hey man, enough is enough," and starts enforcing the law, they're crying foul. And the reason that they're in meltdown mode is because their plans, they're falling apart. They wanted those votes. They wanted those bodies in there to help them get some additional House seats. They wanted it. They wanted the chaos to distract, and now it's backfiring on them. They wanted to blame Trump, but Americans are seeing right through it because Americans are seeing through the lies. Who put them in that spot? Not Trump, not the feds. It was the system that let them in the first place, the policies that ignored the law. The Democrats who said, "Come on in, we'll protect you, come to a sanctuary city, we'll protect you. We'll protect you from the federal government. We'll protect you from the ICE agents." And now when the bill comes due, they're shocked. It's like inviting someone into your house, letting them trash it, and then acting surprised when you call the cops. You broke the law. You face the consequences. And yes, it could be tough on families, but that's the reality of it. You can't have law and order if you don't enforce the law. You can't protect the innocent if you don't hold the guilty accountable. You just can't. We're going to move on. I think we might have beat that dead horse, but it needed to be discussed because mainstream media will tell you that the American people are with these illegals, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. And now in other news, man, I want to talk about this. We got to do an update on the whole Simone Biles, Riley Gaines controversy. I don't know if you guys, you may or may not been here on Monday. TA, you a trip. But you may or may not have been here on Monday. But we got to talk about the Simone Biles and Riley Gaines controversy. We got to talk about it, man. Simone Biles, she exposed herself. She exposed herself. And not in the way the media loves to spin. For years, a lot of people, I don't really watch gymnastics like that. I don't really care for the Olympics like that, except for like track and field. That's really about it. I don't really care for the rest of it, but, to each his own. But a lot of folks have celebrated Simone Biles. They've celebrated her as an Olympic icon, a survivor, of SA, a role model for millions of girls. But now many are questioning whether she still stands for the very values that elevated her to greatness in the first daggone place. So here's what happened. If you missed it on Monday, we got to talk about it. Riley Gaines, a former NCAA swimmer, she swam at Kentucky. For those of you guys that don't know, not familiar with her, and now she has been for quite some time, a leading voice defending fairness in women's sports, and has become basically a lightning rod for criticism at this point because she's doing something once considered common sense, saying that women's sports should be for biological women only. That's it. She's not asking for special treatment. She's not, asking for anything crazy, in my opinion, just asking for fairness. The same fairness that allowed Simone Biles to rise to the top of her sport without having to compete against biological men. But Simone didn't stand with Riley. She actually stood against her. And in a tweet that shocked a lot of people because it really kind of came out of nowhere. You know, especially the young women who once idolized her. Simone called Riley a sore loser and implied that she was bullying trans athletes. And the thing is, it was a shot across the bow that, you know, for some, you know, it kind of left you wondering, like, where'd this come from? Like, who put the battery in her back? You know, who did that? Who put the battery in her back to make her jump out here and say this? I was wondering, because it kind of came out of nowhere. It really did. Came out of nowhere. You know, and as you guys see in the tweet, she went as far as to compare her appearance to that of a man. And when I say her, I'm talking about Riley Gaines. And the crazy thing is, Riley Gaines is like 5'5". You know, she's a, you know, pretty short, petite woman. But what's especially baffling is that Simone Biles, of all people, should know better. Back in 2018, she spoke publicly about being bullied for her own body. She said she wore jackets and sweaters year-round because she was ashamed of her muscular physique, something she was relentlessly mocked for. She's one of those. She's a gymnast, you know, and she's short in stature. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Simone Biles is probably 4'8", 4'9", something like that. She's not a tall woman, but she's pretty jacked. You know, she's pretty muscular. So, you know, for her to turn around and throw those, you know, same type of insults at another female athlete simply because she holds a different opinion, I mean, it's somewhat disappointing, to say the least. And Simone previously acknowledged the biological advantages men have in sports. In fact, back in 2017, she openly said that she was glad she didn't have to compete against men because they dominate the medal podium. And that is true. That is very true. If she had to compete against men, she wouldn't have all the medals that she has right now. She wouldn't. She wouldn't. You guys know it. I know it. You know, men, especially when it comes to gymnastics, the things that men can do, because, you know, we just have superior upper body strength in comparison to women. So when you see this tweet, you know, that came out, it makes you wonder who put the battery in her back. What changed? What changed? And the only answer that I could come up with was, politics. Today's cultural elite expects athletes, especially high-profile women of color like Simone, to play the activist game. And in doing so, they've traded common sense for clout. They say, oh, they're fighting for inclusion, but at the cost of fairness for women. Let's not sugarcoat what Simone did. She mocked Riley Gaines for standing up for girls and women. She ignored Riley's years of advocacy, dismissed the sacrifices, and tried to erase the very real issue of male-bodied athletes displacing female athletes in sports. And when challenged on it, she backpedaled with a carefully scripted apology full of vague language like competitive equity and empathy without ever really taking accountability. I have a problem with it. I mean, to an extent, I can appreciate the apology. I can appreciate the apology, but I don't like, I mean, I guess she tossed the shot across the bow via tweet. I guess you come out and you apologize via tweet, but I think it would have been better had she shot a video apologizing, not only to Riley Gaines, but to other young girls out there who are being taken advantage of, having their opportunities taken away from them, from this subset of people. But in the tweet, she said, I wanted to follow up from my last tweets. I've always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sport. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. I wish she would have did this in video. Hopefully she had the wherewithal to at least reach out to Riley Gaines directly and give her a call. I hope. I mean, she goes on to say that these are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to, but I believe it starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in the way that feels personal and harmful. Individual athletes, especially kids, should never be the focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over. I believe sports organizations have a responsibility to come up with rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. We all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful. So yeah, this is a masterclass in dodging accountability while sounding noble. First off, competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential. It didn't come across, to me, it didn't come across as genuine. It didn't come across, as real. And it really came across like, hey, she was feeling the heat. She was feeling the pressure. And she had to save face. I mean, sure, when you say things like, competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential. I mean, it sounds nice. But in practice, it's a complete contradiction. You can't have fairness when you let biological males, who, let's be real, have a clear physical edge, compete against women. Simone knows this. She knows it. She said it herself back in 2017. So you got to wonder who put the battery in her back. Why did she change? This both can coexist line is just woke word salad, trying to please everyone while standing for absolutely nothing. And the apology, it didn't help for me. It didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. That's not an apology. It's a half-hearted shrug. She doesn't say sorry for the body shaming or the sore loser jab, because if you guys recall, she said that Riley looked like a man. Riley's 5'5". I don't know how much she weighs, but she looked like she couldn't weigh more than 140 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Said she was manly. 5'5", 140 pounds don't come across as manly. And I've seen Riley games. She's a nice looking woman. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but still nice looking woman. She regrets that it got heated. That's really what it is. And she regrets that the people are coming for her. Then there's the sensitive, complicated issue bit. Complicated? It's really not that complicated. Biology isn't a debate club topic. It just isn't. It's science. Men and women are different, and sports are built on that difference. Saying you don't have answers or solution is a cop-out when the solution is basically staring in her face. Protect women's sport at all costs. And this empathy and respect line, empathy for who? The girls who are getting their tails kicked, losing titles and losing state championships to male athletes? The one sidelined by a system that prioritizes feelings over facts? Respect goes both ways. And what's even more tone deaf is the context behind the debate. Simone Biles was one of the brave women who publicly stood up against Larry Nassar, the disgraced doctor who abused hundreds of gymnasts under the guise of medical treatment. Dude deserves to rot in jail. He does. Honestly, he doesn't even deserve to rot in jail. He deserves so much worse than that. He does. She spoke out for vulnerable girls, for those who were silenced and manipulated. And yet here she is right now supporting policies that would force the same vulnerable girls to undress in front of men in locker rooms, as long as those men, quote unquote, identify as a woman. If Larry Nassar had simply identified as a woman, would Simone Biles think it'd be appropriate for him to be housed in a women's prison? Yeah, that's just something to think about. But anyway, the tweet, it's a PR move. Maybe ChatGPT wrote it or something along those lines. I don't know. But it's a PR move. It's not a stance. She's trying to save face after the misstep, throwing out buzzwords to appease the woke crowd while dodging the hard truth. Fairness in sports means protecting female athletes, not pandering to ideology. And it turns out most Americans agree. Honestly, this shouldn't even, the fact that this is even a conversation is just sickening to me.
Tell Simone Biles that had she been competing against men during her career, she wouldn't have a career. Advocating against the reason that you have been able to be so successful is actually insane. A woman is a successful athlete. Advocating for men to be in sports would be a reason that she wouldn't even have the career that has made her who she is. This mentality of inclusion at the expense of everything else, at the expense of common sense, has you guys so twisted that you will literally advocate against yourselves. Not to mention, Simone Biles has never had a win stripped from her because someone who should have never been in there in the first place, a biological man, has stolen it from her. Riley Gaines is someone who refuses to take a knee to the woke gender cult bullshit, and thank God for people like her. And for Simone to turn around and say that her priority should have been creating a safe space for these biological men, not when it comes at the expense of women. All that really means is let's give them a safe space so that they don't cry and make their feelings more important than the safety of women. That's disgusting and anti-women. But I'm not surprised. Welcome to 2025, where courage is punished and compliance is rewarded. Thank God for Riley Gaines. Simone Biles, do better.
She's absolutely right. And she is spot on. She is spot on. This entire situation is so backwards. Advocating against themselves. I mean, open that Pandora's box. Let biological men into women's sports under the guise of inclusion, and good luck closing it. I mean, today it might not affect Simone, but tomorrow, a trans woman in U.S. gymnastics, not a fair shot at all. Next thing you know, we're rewriting the record books, and the legacy of female athletes like Simone get erased by someone with a physical advantage that can't be overcome. I mean, it's a slippery slope, to say the least. It's a slippery slope. And once you start sliding, there's no stopping it. And it's not just backwards, it's actually anti-feminist, which isn't that what they claim to be? Now, I'm not some champion for feminism or feminist. I don't like it. You know, I think that movement, it's been very demonic. It is. It's destroyed households. It's destroyed, it's really destroyed communities. You know, it has. It's been an evil, evil agenda. But you got to ask yourself, why are they not trying to uplift women? You know, celebrate their unique strengths and fight for their spaces. Why? The only thing that this woke nonsense is doing is erasing womanhood. Saying anyone can be a woman if they feel like it wipes out what makes women special. There are differences between men and women for a reason: biological, emotional, cultural. And those differences matter. It's what makes up society. Men can't do the most wonderful thing in the world that a woman can, which is give birth, bring new life into the world, nurture it in a way only a mother can. That's a gift. That's a power, a role that's been celebrated across history. And now it's being diminished by this ideology that says gender is just a feeling. It's a quote unquote social construct. Think about it. Women have fought for decades to have their own sports, their own opportunities, to prove that they can excel on a level on the playing field. And now the left wants to hand that field over to anyone who claims the title. They claim to be a woman. I mean, it's anti-woman to pretend that the differences don't exist or don't matter. And it's not just sports either. This ideology, man, it seeps into every part of life: bathrooms, prisons, scholarships, erasing the protections and spaces women have earned. And for what? To appease a tiny subset minority while throwing the majority under the bus? It doesn't make sense, man. Most Americans, you know, as the polls show, they're just not buying it, man. They're not with it at all. And most of the polls say, most people in America will tell you the same. I mean, this is ridiculous, man.
Are really illuminating on this topic, because I just think there's such a clear trend among the American public. So transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports. But it's not just the here and now, Laura. It's not just the here and now. What we're actually seeing is a trend on this particular issue, and it's going in the direction of opposition. So take a look here. Okay, transgendered female athletes, and amongst those Americans who oppose them in women's sports. Back in 2021, it was 62%. A majority, but, you know, not anywhere close to a ginormous majority, right? A clear majority, but not a ginormous majority. But then again, you look here in 2025, you see it at 79%. So it's not just that the majority of Americans are opposed to transgender female athletes in women's sports. It's that the opposition has become considerably larger in just the last 4 years.
I mean, talk about an 80-20 issue. The thing is that Democrats, man, they're on the wrong side of every issue, of every major issue in the country. They're on the wrong side. But I, for one, I am glad that Americans see this for what it is, man. It's a betrayal of women's hard-won rights under the mask of progress. Riley's fighting to keep that fairness alive, and meanwhile, Simone's apology just proves she's more interested in clout than courage. And no wonder the backlash was swift, and it was fierce, and it needed to be happy. We got to bring back shame, and we got to bring back, public pushback when people say outlandish things, when they support outlandish agendas. We got to call them out. We got to call them out. People were not buying her half-hearted XOXO tweet. They wasn't. Many saw it for what it was. Damage control. People saw the double standard. They saw the hypocrisy. There's no such thing as inclusion in women's sports when you're including biological men. That's exclusion for women. And the most frustrating part is that Simone seemed completely unaware that the very trans activists she tried to appease don't want to compromise. They don't want separate categories. They don't want a separate category. Think about this. They actually talked about this, and I think we might have talked about this on Monday. But when they were polled, and when I say they, I'm talking about the trans or the people part of that alphabet community, when they were polled and said, hey, do you think we should create a category for trans athletes? And they all vehemently said no. They didn't want it. They didn't want it. So they don't want fairness. That's not what they're interested in. They don't want fairness. They want full participation in women's divisions, and they want to dominate, regardless of the biological disadvantages it creates for real women. That's what Simone Biles failed to grasp. And that's why her apology, it didn't land. This isn't about being hateful. It's not about denying anyone their identity. I mean, honestly, do what you do as long as you're not infringing on the rights of others. Seriously. It's about defending something that generations of women have fought for. The right to compete on an even playing field. Title IX wasn't passed so men could dominate women's sports under a new label. And it certainly wasn't passed so elite athletes could turn on their own. Simone Biles may have the gold medals, but Riley Gaines has the integrity. And in this moment, integrity matters a lot. It matters a whole lot more, in my opinion. Riley doesn't need endorsements. She doesn't need the fame. She just needs the truth. And she's not backing down. And there's a lot of people standing with her, standing behind her with this issue. Let this be a wake-up call to every athlete, every parent, every young girl watching from the sidelines. You don't need to be silent to be kind. You don't need to surrender fairness to be compassionate. And you definitely don't need to stay quiet when the most powerful voices in sports turn their backs on the reality on reality. Simone Biles showed the world what happens when celebrity replaces courage. Riley Gaines reminds us what courage really looks like. And at the end of the day, history won't remember the hashtags or the press statements. It will remember who stood up for girls when it mattered most. I mean, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. And the thing is that can somebody in the chat name the female who has transitioned to a male, we'll say, quote unquote, transition to a male that is, we won't say dominating, but just participating in men's sports or in a boys division? Where's it at? Where is it? You don't see it. You don't see it happening. You don't see some 5'5" chick with a beard acting like she going to join the NBA. It ain't going to happen. You know, they're not even going to make the high school team. It's ridiculous, man. But I'm glad that Riley Gaines is standing up. I'm glad that more and more people are like, man, this is outrageous. You know, if you're an adult, you know, and you want to cosplay as a woman, by all means, that's your business. Do you? But you believing that you're something shouldn't give you the ability to infringe upon the rights of others out there. You just do not see it. And the thing is that when men or boys decide that, hey, I am now a woman and they are allowed to compete, they dominate. They dominate. Up in Minnesota, there's a kid up there, and there's a kid. They're in high school. They're 16. His name's Charlie something. I think he goes by Marissa or something along those lines. He plays softball. They won the state championship up there in Minnesota. Dude had multiple games where he pitched no hitters. Multiple games where he did not allow a run to be scored. He had a statistical anomaly of a day. He had two back-to-back no hitters. For those of you guys that watch baseball, do y'all understand how hard it is to get one no hitter? It would be considered a career day. Nolan Ryan, the greatest pitcher ever, he only has 7 of them in Major League Baseball. 7. Now, I would assume that he probably had a lot more when he was playing high school ball or something along those lines. I would assume. But just looking at it from a Major League Baseball standpoint, Nolan Ryan only has 7. I'm waiting on the D3, D2 male basketball player to decide that they are now a woman to join the WNBA. It actually might be worth watching once that happens. If you guys recall the movie that came out at this point now, I guess maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, Juwanna Mann. Do you guys recall that? Where the dude put a wig on, you know, and all this other kind of stuff, and he was on the women's team. They ended up making it to the championship, of course. And this dude was like, I think he was a professional basketball player on the men's side and got kicked out or something. It's been a while. I can't remember. And I think I've only watched the movie once. And at this point now, when I watched that movie back in the day, I did not understand that they were setting us up for this to happen. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that they were, you know, kind of setting you up, trying to, you know, kind of tenderize the meat a little bit, I guess, you know, to get you conditioned or prepared. Y'all are a trip. Somebody said, Quincy said that's why that's LeBron's retirement plan. Because LeBron in the WNBA, he puts a wig on, goes to the WNBA. He averages probably 50, 60 a game easily. It's not even close. Whatever team he's on, they're going to win the championship 3, 4, 5 times in a row. Y'all know it. Dion, you hadn't watched Juwanna Mann? Wow. Who is it? Miguel Nunez and what's her name? She look a mess now, but she was a baddie back in the day. Oh, what's her name? Who watched Juwanna Mann? I can't think of the lady's name right now. She look a daggone mess, but she was kind of the main. It was Miguel Nunez and Vivica Fox. Boom, there you go. Thank you, DeAndre. I could remember the name. I like because I can just see her face. I'm like, she look a mess now. Back in the day, she was a baddie. Back in the day, Vivica Fox from probably the 90s and the early 2000s. She was a nice looking woman. I don't know what happened. You know, the wall is undefeated, but we're not gonna go down. We're not gonna go down that. Thanks, John Watts. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Spaces. Yeah, that was Vivica Fox, and thank you, LJ. Those of you guys, yeah, Vivica Fox. I couldn't remember her name, but yeah, she look a daggone mess right now. But she, she's a nice looking woman back in the day. Y'all got to agree, right? She was a nice looking woman back in the day. I don't know what has happened now. You know, I don't know. We're going to have some of these conversations, though, as we kind of continue to progress. We're going to have some panel shows, and we're going to talk about not just what's going on politically. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about the communities. We're going to talk about a lot of things that need to be discussed. It's called a righteous perspective. I got to take on a lot of things. We discuss a lot of politics, and we get into some of the social topics as well. We're going to continue to expand and broaden our horizon on some of these topics. We got to. We got to. Ace Brigade, you a trip, bro. Oh my goodness. She sure, hey, Brittany Griner definitely sounds like one. Definitely sounds like one. Oh. Yeah, y'all a trip, man. Y'all a trip. Yeah, LJ Taylor said she looked good on 2, can play that game. Yeah, no. Hey, what was the movie? It was her and Will Smith that was in it. Was that Independence Day? Nice looking in Independence Day. Hey, Dion, if you haven't watched Juwanna Mann, I think you should check it out. The movie is old, and they were just trying to prime us, man. They're trying to set us up for this movement. You know, trying to get people, you know, on board with it. And if you think about it, Hollywood has been prepping us for it for a while. When you think about, you know, Tu Wong Fu, and you think about Big Mama's House, you watch all these dudes with dresses on and stuff like that. It's almost like they were kind of priming us for this. You know, kind of priming us for this, unfortunately. But you guys are a mess, man. You all are a mess. And yeah, predictive programming. Absolutely. Yeah, Dion, you got to check it out. Check out Juwanna Mann. I'm not if you've already seen it, don't go back and watch it. Don't give them. But if you have not watched it, go and watch it. It's not that great of a movie. It really isn't. But I mean, they've been prepping us. There's so many movies. If you really think about it, they're a lot more subtle than they are today. But there's so many freaking movies out there that have come out that, you know, just show guys in dresses. You know, unfortunately. Who brought up? Oh, Knight Rider said Felicia Rashad has aged and she looks good. Vivica, not so much. I agree 1000%. Mrs. Huxtable, even today, if I'm not mistaken, I believe if she's not 80, she's really close. And that is a beautiful woman for a woman that's in her 70s. And she tried to give some of the young sisters some game on the Breakfast Club a couple months back, and they did not want to hear what she had to say. These people don't want no accountability. They just want to be able to do whatever they want to do. Come out the house with, you know, a bonnet and pajamas on, so what? I should be able to do whatever. Come out the house with nothing on, leave nothing to their imagination, and then got the nerve to be mad because some man looked at them. Makes absolutely no sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me. Yeah, DeAndre, yeah. Angela Bassett, nice looking woman as well. Still. Dr. Kyla says Mrs. Doubtfire was funny. It was funny, but they were getting you ready. See, they used it like it was a good movie. Like Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm not gonna lie, I watched that movie. Like as a kid, I watched that movie a multitude of times. It was good. It was funny. Big Mama's House. I couldn't tell you how many times I watched that back in the day. You just don't understand that they're programming you. You know, they call it TV programming for a reason. They're programming you, getting you ready, getting you set up for this. So when you do see it in real life, not that big of a deal because you've already watched the movie and you thought it was funny. Shout out to Spaces with the $2 super chat. Says gray. Gray. I'm assuming gray is a great color. I'm the same way. Yeah, I keep it real simple, man. Black, gray shirts. I don't really veer from it too tough. Every now and again, you might catch me, in something else, but for the most part, this is you'll see me like this for the most part. Yeah, that plastic surgery ain't no joke, man. It seems like everybody that gets into that plastic surgery, they just start looking weird, after it, man. And it's not a good look. And Vivica, she didn't need to do all that. She could have just aged gracefully, and she still would have just been a nice looking older woman. Now she look a daggone mess. Now she look a mess. Yeah. Oh man. All right. I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes, but let's make sure we got these likes up. We're gonna go ahead and shut the show down. We're gonna get ready to get up out of here. But I definitely appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. DeAndre says, I wonder why we don't see women transition into men's sports and dominating the same way. You know why. It's also the reason why we have men's sports, women's sports. If it was just sports, women would never make the teams. We know this. If it was just men's sports, if it was just sports where everybody could try out, more times than not, unless they just, said, hey, we got to have, a certain amount, they wouldn't make the team. They wouldn't make any high school team. Madam X says women do pretty well in rock climbing, but muscle was always the issue. Okay, I haven't really watched rock climbing. I'm not real sure how popular rock climbing is as a sport. I'm not sure. I got you, B. All right. All righty, man. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today, man. I appreciate you guys. If you hadn't hit that like button, please make sure you hit that like button on the way out the building. We had a pretty good amount of people in here. At one point, man, we had upwards of, a little over 500 people, in the building. So definitely appreciate you guys. I'm not exactly sure how many likes we are at right now, but hopefully we should be probably close to maybe 600 or 700 today. But hey, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Stay safe out there, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. You guys take care of yourself, man. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.